Minutes interview. The Georgia Republican accused President Trump of deserting his base, saying his policies are not America first.
He passed a crypto bill that helped out all the crypto donors. He has served Israel's interest, even attacking Iran. He has served Big Pharma. He didn't take away the COVID vaccines that we want to see taken away. So those are the areas that are still getting everything they want, while the people, we're still out here saying we want to see action on areas for the American people, not for the major industries and the big donors.
Rina, Shah and Joel Payne join us now from our D.C. bureau. Rina is a geopolitical advisor and strategist and a former senior GOP congressional advisor. And Joel is a CBS News political contributor and chief communications officer for the Progressive Policy Advocacy Group. Move on. A warm good morning to you both for our Strat Chat this week. Rina, let's start with you. We heard Congresswoman Greene there being very specific in her criticisms of the president's policies. What do you make of what she had to say?
Well, in that wide-ranging interview, there was a lot to chew on, so much so that I took some notes here because there was a lot that I know that many of us in Washington have been whispering about for a long time, but we just hadn't seen on air. You know, the private GOP mockery, especially, she spoke about, exposing that many Republicans privately called the president essentially the orange man, and that they mock him, making fun of him. That really squares up, Errol, with Pew Research, which has shown that Republican approval is down 8 points since the Epstein feud. And 60% of Republican voters say infighting is hurting results. But then there was also the fear of primaries, which we've all known about, right? That her colleagues are terrified to step out of line. And that also squares up with internal Republican polling. 45% of House Republicans have feared being primaried for dissenting. And that's a real shame there, because that fear really is blocking the good and essential work that these Republican lawmakers can do for the American public. But I would say, lastly, the big thing that stuck out to me was this America First, the betrayal of that movement, and less focus on MAGA, because Marjorie Taylor Greene is emphasizing that she is America First and that it's not MAGA. And in her remarks, she's very much right. And I would say, I heard a lot of myself and my peers reflected in that. There's a genuine sense that why are we doing so much for the world when our own fellow citizens are suffering? Essentially, foreign aid is up something like 15%, while real median income here in these United States is flat. It's something approximately at about $74,000. Wow. So look, the base of the Republican Party, they want that domestic focus and not endless overseas spending. That was really good for her to get in there as the kind of final swan song.
Yeah. So, Joel, with Rina co-signing MTG's points, how are Democrats planning to capitalize on this potential split within MAGA?
Yeah, it's the right question to ask related to Democrats. I guess first what I would just say is, to me, what this is about, and I think we're going to talk about affordability in a moment here, it's about what the American people were led to believe and what they are experiencing. And it doesn't matter if you were in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district and you were someone who associated yourself with MAGA, or if you were someone in the middle who's an independent, or if you're a progressive. You were led to believe certain things about this president. Even if you disagreed with him, you were told he was going to focus on making your life more affordable. He was going to be laser focused on the economy. But he's not. What he's doing today, yeah, he's putting out an executive order related to affordability, which he calls a con job. But what he's also doing, he is taking Martin Luther King Day in Juneteenth off of the list of holidays that are being covered by the National Park Service for people to take advantage of taking advantage of our national parks. What he's doing is he is going after political enemies like Letitia James. He is firing contractors for the ballroom that cost billions of dollars. This is not what the American people voted for. And whether you're a Democrat, Joe Biden, or you're a Republican, Donald Trump, the American people don't like being misled. And if Democrats are smart, they will surface this and they will make sure that this is the wedge issue that Republicans in Congress have to defend in 2026.
On the topic of affordability, let's quickly listen to President Trump discussing these potential tariff dividend checks, who they would be going to exactly as well. Let's listen.
I also think that, we're making so much money with tariffs that we'll also be able to make a nice dividend to middle-income people. We're talking about middle-income and lower-income people. We're not talking about dividends to rich people.
So we only have a few seconds left for you both. Rina, what do you make of this? Is enough being done?
Well, I think the president's comments right there were good from a political strategy point because voters are still hurting and they're looking for real solutions on affordability in terms of their daily commodities. Groceries are still up something like 20% above the rate of 2020's grocery prices. I think that's a real issue there. But what voters wanted was inflation to cool and essentials to get more affordable. That's not happening entirely. And so the president has a really tough job here while he could potentially risk alienating his base with all the other noise that's going on right now.
Joel, is this central to Democrats' midterm strategy in our last few seconds?
Yeah, it's essential. And by the way, Donald Trump is fighting himself on this because the real thing that would help him is if the Supreme Court stopped his tariff regime. And if the people around him stopped him from making things more expensive for the American people, but his own political instincts push him in the other direction. And that's the challenge he's dealing with right now.
Rina, Shah, Joel, Payne, thank you so much for joining us this Monday. See you again soon.